Poker YouTuber Doug Polk loves to bluff. He shows it all the time in his videos. Let's see if his opponents watch them.
There's a set for Alex, top for Josh, and middle pair for Doug. Doug does now have the ace of spades here. Is Doug gonna go for the bluff here?
All in.
All in, he does.
You know who like the legit guys are?
Yeah, honestly, you probably know better than me.
Yeah, I think
WPT Global, the real money online poker home of the WPT. As a first-time depositor, you can get a free $110 Sunday Slam tourney ticket and matching deposit bonus up to $1,200. Visit WPTglobal.com/landing/lodge and use code LODGE.
We are playing $32,000 deep at the lodge at 50, 100 with a 100 big blind. Ante. Josh, under the gun, raises it up with ace, jack, offsuit. Doug Polk on the button gets a little bit loosey-goosey with the ace of spades, 9 of diamonds, and opts to call. Alex in the small blind with pocket fives calls as well. The big blind gets out of the way. So far, so good. Let's go to the flop.
The big push to suppress it, it feels very predatory.
There's a set for Alex.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Oh, like, you know, they shouldn't
Top for Josh. And middle pair for Doug. Something for everyone here.
Obviously, we all think that, but it feels predatory to put it out there like that.
But you know what? Just to put the other side of that,
Yeah.
if you're the kind of person that really cares about people knowing you're losing or not, don't play streams.
For sure, yeah.
Alex with the set, gonna raise to 2,000. Josh with top here.
They don't want to look bad.
They don't want their wives to see how much they're losing.
Or their employees.
Or their employees, yeah.
I know what one of the big regs in LA would do is he would just like sporadically add on like kind of random amounts such that like you wouldn't know how much he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally wife is easier to deal with because there's
They'll be
only
like,
one
hey,
person.
what do you
Anybody.
Employees,
Investors, if you're
Flop comes Jack of spades, 9 of hearts, 5 of spades. Alex has a set. His opponents both have a pair with an ace kicker. Alex, out of position, checks, as he certainly should. Josh bets $300, a small bet, which is fine and reasonable from out of position multi-way. Doug then opts to call with his middle pair, backdoor nut flush draw. And then Alex puts down the hammer. He makes it $2,000. You may say, isn't this a big raise? But no, it is not. This is a scenario where you certainly want to raise decently large from out of position, especially given both of your opponent's ranges contain a whole lot of decently good made hands like top pairs, over pairs, middle pairs, etc., and draws like open-ended straight draws, gut shots, flush draws. So this is a spot where you certainly want to put in a big raise. Josh, with top pair, top kicker, has a reasonable call, and then Doug calls as well. This is a spot where you do have to be careful in Doug's scenario calling because you very easily could be against a flush draw, which will never fold if the flush comes, or something like a set, which will never fold if the flush draw does not come. So you may not be able to bluff quite as easily as you may be able to in a heads-up pot, but in position, closing the action, I think ace of spades 9 is going to be good enough to call, because when you do make 2 pair, it's usually good. When you make 3 nines, it's usually good. Not this time. And when you make the backdoor flush, it's pretty much always good. So, Doug calls. Let's go to the turn.
Yeah. But that working in relationship is hard. Like,
Doug does now have the ace of spades here.
Yeah.
Josh with 0% equity right now. Over to Doug with the ace of spades.
That was it, one drink? That's all we're gonna have?
Looks like 4,400.
Oh, you're already at the
You whip them up though.
Dan, you're good?
British Bulldog in the blender.
The turn is the queen of spades, which is a horrible card for Alex because the flush draw just arrived, but also some of the straight draws that the opponents could have also arrived, like king 10 and 10-8. And recognize in this scenario, Doug could have all sorts of those combinations, especially if they are suited. So, Alex checks. Josh, with his now second pair, which got way worse, checks. And then Doug bets 4,400 into the $6,900 pot. This may look overly aggressive because Doug has third pair, but when both players check, it's pretty likely neither of them have a flush, because if they did have a flush, it'd be worse than the ace-high flush, and they certainly want to bet and get money in the pot and get protection against the various ace of spades with any other card that could be out there. So Doug correctly realizes his hand's almost certainly no good, but it has a lot of potential to improve to either the best hand or maybe even be able to bluff again on the river. Doug goes for the 2/3 pot bet. Let's see how his opponents proceed.
How much? 44. Cool.
Ethan, when are you gonna go back?
Call from Alex.
Not no plan yet, but I'll visit there like. No.
Doug looking for a spade.
While a set very easily could be the worst hand at this point, it has to continue because it's either the best hand right now, which it is, or it has a draw to become the best hand, especially when one of his opponents has a flush or a straight, right? If the board pairs, then pocket fives will end up winning, and if it is something like a random 5, 9, jack, etc., if Doug does have a flush, he's probably going to value bet the river, which will then allow Alex to have good implied odds. So Alex makes the call. Ace jack, top pair, top kicker on the flop is never going to be good here on the turn. Josh correctly gets out of the way. Let's go to the river.
That's non-board pairing. Does not come. Check mark for Alex.
I try to go back every month or so.
The river is the 4 of diamonds, a complete brick. Alex, out of position with a set, checks. Doug now has to figure out what he should do. Should he check it back and hope to win at the showdown? Should he bet small, like 5,000? Should he bet big, like 12,000? Or should he put Alex all in for 25,000 into the $15,000 pot? Take a second, think about it. Let me know what you would do in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, click the like and subscribe button for me, please.
Guys, here's back.
Yeah, such high demand.
Thank you.
They don't always have
Is Doug going to go for the bluff here, holding the ace of spades?
All in.
All in, he does.
This is a cool situation because normally if you have some showdown value, you may not want to bluff with your hand. However, if you consider Alex's range in this spot, it's very unlikely to be a flush because Doug has the ace of spades and the queen is on the board and the jack is on the board and the random 5 is on the board. So that really does block a whole lot of combinations of flushes that Alex could have. And on top of that, Alex would very likely keep betting a lot of his flushes on the turn. So Alex almost never has a flush. If he doesn't have a flush, what does that mean he likely has? He likely has some sort of decently strong made hand. Maybe a jack, maybe king of spades with a jack, or jack with a 10 of spades that decided to raise, or a set, or maybe turn 2 pair. So the question becomes, will he fold those to a river bet? Well, if Doug makes a small or medium-sized river bet, I don't think there's any way Alex is going to fold out a set. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. However, if Doug does go all in for a big overbet, 25,000 and 15,000, I do think Alex will start to fold out hands like 2 pair, definitely 1 pair, and maybe even a set, especially given Doug can very reasonably value bet with probably second set for sure. That may sound a little bit optimistic, but this is a spot where when, like I said, Alex checks the turn and just check calls and checks river, he really doesn't have a whole lot of flushes, and he probably doesn't have a whole lot of straights either. So I'm not sure if top set can value bet, but certainly a straight can. So this is a spot where I think Doug really does need to go for bluffs with a lot of his potential bluffing hands. And if you consider the hands that Doug calls the flop bet and then the raise with, a lot of those are either top pair, which don't need to bluff, or, I mean, I don't know what, find some other bluffs. It's kind of hard to find bluffs here in Doug's shoes. And when it's hard to find bluffs in Doug's shoes, you need to look hard for them. Doug is a good, strong, world-class player. He realizes this 9 is one of the worst hands he can have. He does block perhaps a middle set that would call, and he has the ace of spades blocker. For all those reasons, Doug needs to rip it all in, which is what he does. Let's see if pocket fives finds the call.
Such a powerful card, that ace of spades. And Alex lays it down. Doug makes it work. Shows the 9.
Ace,
And will show the ace of spades.
money card.
And the British Bulldog.
After a lot of deliberation, pocket fives makes the fold. Doug shows the ace of spades and the 9 and scoops a massive pot. You may say, shouldn't you always call against a crazy person like Doug Polk? And, you know, depending on how crazy he is, the answer may be yes. However, I think the fold in this scenario is absolutely fine because Doug can value bet any flush and probably even a straight, and maybe even a little bit wider. And if you consider how difficult it is for Doug to even have a bluff in this scenario, like the ace of spades X that called a flop bet and then the raise, there really just aren't a lot of potential bluffs. And when it's hard to find bluffs, and there may not even be nearly enough of them in Doug's range to begin with, this is a spot where you do need to make snug folds. And as much as I hate folding, even I might have folded in this spot.